All right, we're back. 20 more real estate questions for you guys today. Think of it like a 20-question quiz. I'm taking these questions with you guys because I am studying for my exam with you guys. If you want to follow along on my journey and continue your own journey, please subscribe. Let's get into the questions. All right, here we go. Question number 1. What type of legal description would a new residential sub-developer most likely use? A, meets and bounds. B, government rectangular. C, lot and block. D, sections and townships. Remember, this is on for the national exam and the California exam, property ownership and land use controls and regulations. This one's kind of tough. All right, what type of legal description would a new residential sub-developer most likely use? Legal description? I think it's sections and townships. No, lot and block. Okay, that makes, thought that was more like common terms instead of government terms, but there you go. All right, question rationale. Most states have laws that require the use of lot and block methods to describe real property if newly created parcels are smaller than the minimum required by statute. Example, per lot size of less than 5 acres. An example of a lot and block description is as follows. Being property described as lot number 16 of Norwich Lake Estates subdivision located in the state of Texas, county of Wichita. All right. You guys got that? Write that down. Number 2. Which of the following statements is not true regarding deed restrictions? A, they are called restrictive covenants. B, once established, they run with the land and are limitations on the use of future grantees. C, they are frequently encountered in residential subdivisions. D, they terminate upon the death of the grantor. Which of the following statements is not true? We got to remember that, not regarding deed restrictions. So that's probably true on the death. Restricted covenants, once established, they run with the land and are limitations on the use of future grantees. They are frequently encountered in residential subdivisions. I'm going to go with this one. C, they are frequently encountered in residential subdivisions. Incorrect. They terminate upon the death of the grantor. So they do not terminate. These restrictions are say that 10 times fast. Apparentant to the real property and thus run with the land. They do not terminate upon the death of the grantor or grantee. Next question, number 3. The power of the government to regulate and supervise real estate law is called contract law. A, contract law. B, act of Congress. C, license law. D, police power. I want to say license law, but it's probably contract law. Oh my God. Okay, police power. I'm 0 for 3 right now, guys. Like I said, follow along. We're learning together. Think of it as a 20-question quiz that we're taking together. Question rationale. The California State Constitution gives the government police power to regulate and supervise real estate law. Some states refer to real estate law as license law. So it's kind of close to that. Your state might refer to it as license law. California's police power. Question 4. What do we call the interest in which 2 or more persons whose interests are not necessarily equal, have no right of survivorship? What do we call the interest in which 2 or more persons whose interests are not necessarily equal, have no right of survivorship? Tenancy in common, community property, tenancy by partnership, and joint tenancy. I don't think I want to say tenancy by partnership. Would 2 or more persons not equal? I think tenancy in common and community proper are equal. And so is that. Let's try partnership. Nope. All right, 0 for 4. The answer is A, tenancy in common. The co-ownership interest that can be held unequally is tenancy in common. It is the co-ownership interest that gives the holder the most control. All right, guys, I gotta, obviously this is a subject that I need to work on. If you want to work on this subject with me, I have a link below down to this program that we're using. It's called Colibri. This is the program that I'm using, that I'm going to use to pass my real estate exam. And I think you guys should too. I used this program to pass my 3 prerequisite courses, and now I'm just on the exam prep. But I think you guys should do it. Try it out. Check the link below. Number 5, which of the following deeds is most preferential from the point of view of the seller? A general warranty deed, a special warranty deed, a quitclaim deed, a limited warranty deed. Yeah, we're struggling on these ones. Which of the following deeds is most preferential from the point of view of the seller? Who would probably just a general warranty deed. Incorrect. A quitclaim deed. C. Question rationale. A seller wishes to give a deed that has absolutely no warranties in it, so the seller is subject to the least liability. The general warranty deed is the deed that the buyer would most desire, as it contains the 4 basic warranties of ownership, no liens, quiet enjoyment, and warranties forever. The limited warranty deed and special warranty deed are in the same in that they give very limited or special warranties to the buyer for the time period during which the seller owned the property. So the seller wants a quitclaim deed, the buyer wants a general warranty deed. Question 6. Which is not limited? Common area. Open garage units 1, 2, 3, and 4. Assigned parking, foyer in a unit, patio of a unit. Which is not limited? Common area? Not, that seems limited. That's probably limited. Open garage unit. Nope. Foyer in a unit. All right, I'm 0 for 6, guys. This is actually becoming a problem. Question rationale. The foyer in a unit is part of a room in the unit and therefore is a part of ownership. Assigned parking, the patio, and the open garage are owned by all but limited to the specific owners. So a foyer. Why do they call it a foyer? Why don't they just call it a room? Question 7. Which of the following would enhance the value of real property? A picture of the Mona Lisa hanging in the hallway of the home, a 2-car garage, an above-ground pool, a toxic waste dump built next door to your home. I think it's a 2-car garage or an above-ground pool. Oh, actually, I think the above-ground pool you can get rid of. So I'm going to go with a 2-car garage, real property. Hey, we got it right. Question rationale. The above-ground pool and the picture are both items of personal property, not real property. A toxic waste dump next door would decrease the value of your property, while a 2-car garage would increase the economic value of your property. Hey, let's go. Question 8. What do we call the imaginary lines that run north and south under the U.S. government rectangular survey system? What do we call the imaginary lines that run north and south under the U.S. government rectangular survey system? A. Boundaries. B. Baselines. C. Meridians. D. Monuments. Not monuments. Boundaries. I want to say baselines. Meridians. Okay. North and south lines on a rectangular survey are called meridians. What are, comment below, what are east and west? Question number 9. Ward owned a lot and had an easement across Lane's property. Ward sold the property to Stevens, but the easement, which was appurtenant to Ward's property, was not mentioned in the deed. The easement reverts to Lane, passed to Stevens, does not run with the land, was held by Ward. Ward owned and across Lane's property. Ward sold the property to Stevens, but the easement, which was Ward's property, was not mentioned in the deal. Does it pass to Stevens? Let's see. Correct. Nice. Question rationale. Whether mentioned in the deed or not, the easement automatically passes to Stevens, the new buyer. Question 10. Halfway through, guys. The term appurtenance means runs with the land. Refers to the rights owned by a tenant in the landlord's property. Refers to the rights that only last for a certain period of time. Is best exemplified by an easement in gross. I think we just had this appurtenance. Refers to the rights owned by a tenant in the landlord's property. I want to say that one. B. Incorrect. It means runs with the land. Okay. So whatever, it goes with the land. Something is appurtenant to the property if it runs with the land and stays forever. For example, an easement appurtenant, or the bundle of rights, tenants rights in a landlord property are called leasehold estates and are not appurtenant as they do not run with the land. Okay, we just went over that. All right, halfway through, guys. If you want to follow along on the next video, we have more vocab, more real estate test questions, more concepts. I'll be doing live streams of the 150 questions of the practice exam. Click the link below. Follow along with me. Get on to Colibri and use my affiliate link, please. Also subscribe, comment down below. Question 11. When a firm is not paid after furnishing material for the construction of an apartment building, the firm may file an estoppel certificate, a deficiency judgment, a writ of liability, a mechanic's lien. When a firm is not paid after furnishing material for the construction, the firm may file a mechanic's lien. A mechanic is not a construction. Let's go with an estoppel certificate. Oh my God, I had it. A mechanic's lien. Question rationale. A creditor may obtain a deficiency judgment if a foreclosure action fails to raise enough proceeds to cover the original lien. An estoppel certificate is a document used by the mortgagee to stop the mortgager from inserting a defense of an amount claimed due and owing under a mortgage. A mechanic's lien is filed by a contractor, laborer, or material supplier whose work or materials enhance the value of real property. Question 12. Vegetation would be best described as chattel real, trade fixture, chattel real property. I don't think it's real property or a trade fixture. So chattel or chattel. Let's go with chattel. Oh, real property. Vegetation such as grass, bushes, and trees are attached to the land and are considered real property. Okay, I guess that makes sense. Because you're not taking those with you. We don't know what a chattel is. We got to figure that out. Comment down below if you know what a chattel is. Question 13. The term ad valorem refers to a clause in a mortgage that allows the mortgage lender to call the loan immediately due and payable, a tax to be paid based upon a value set by the government, a clause in a mortgage that pledges the property as security for repayment of the debt, the process of reducing or decreasing the assessed value of property for computation of property taxes. All right, let's check out this. A Latin phrase meaning according to value is used to refer taxes assessed on the value of property. I mean, this is the only one that has tax. Maybe we shouldn't have read that. A tax to be paid upon a value set by the government. Correct. Question rationale. Ad valorem refers according to valuation. The hypothecation clause is a clause in the mortgage that allows property to be pledged as security for repayment of a debt. The acceleration clause is a clause in the mortgage that allows the lender to call the loan due and payable immediately. The decrease in assessed property for tax computation purposes is called abatement. All right, so that was 4 different vocab words that we're gonna write down later for sure, and we gotta remember those. If you want more vocab words, we also have other videos on vocab words. All right, question 14. Tom wants to purchase Mary's white cottage on the lake, and Mary agrees to sell, but only if Tom will agree that if the cottage is ever structurally altered or painted by any color but white, the title will revert back to Mary. When this restricted provision appears in the deed, it will be, when this restricted provision, a condition? The answer would be A, an easement, B, a condition, C, a license, D, a covenant. I want to say it's a condition. Correct. All right. A condition is similar to a covenant, but failure to comply will result in forfeiture and reversion of the title to the grantor. A covenant is a promise to do something or not to do something, but failure to comply does not result in forfeiture of title. An easement is a transferable right to use another's property for a particular purpose. A license is revocable, signable permission to enter another's lands for a particular purpose. All right, we got more vocab words down here too. Question 15. To find out whether there is an encroachment on a property, a person should purchase A, homeowner's insurance, B, mortgage insurance, C, title insurance, D, a survey. I want to say title insurance. A physical object intruding onto neighboring property, often due to mistake the regarding boundary. Oh, a survey would be for boundaries. Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes more sense. If someone's encroaching on your property, you need to know where your property is. A survey. Perfect. Title insurance ensures that ownership of the property is vested in the name of the purchaser. A survey would show any physical encroachments upon the property. Homeowner's insurance provides against theft and hazardous losses. Okay. Question 16. We're almost there, guys. Which of the following would be considered a chattel? A new furnace, a fence, an in-ground swimming pool, goods or other items of personal property which have not been annexed to the real property. All right, I asked you earlier. Comment below if you know what a chattel is. Here we go. Do we know what it is? A new furnace, a fence, an in-ground swimming pool, Goods or other items of personal property. I mean, this is a pure guess. I'm going to go with the new furnace. Incorrect. It is D. Goods or other items of personal property which have not been annexed to the real property. Question rationale. Chattels are personal property, goods, or other items of property, movable or immovable, which are not real property. They are also known as trade fixtures. Okay. So this is stuff that they could take with them. But they leave it, then I think it's yours. Which is not real property? Question 17. Sump pump, in-ground swimming pool, built-in dishwasher, drapes. I am going to go with drapes. Correct. While drapes are personal property and need to be specifically written in the contract, the hardware on which the drapes are hung is a fixture. The dishwasher is built in, the sump pump is attached through a hole in the floor, and the swimming pool is in the ground. Therefore, all of these are fixed and are real property. So real property is obviously stuff that can stay in, that is like a part of it, and you can't move. And then you have chattel and trade fixtures that you can move out. So drapes would be part of that. Question 18. In a leasehold estate, the possessory interest in the real property is held by the lessee, beneficiary, lessor, or grantee in a leasehold estate. The possessory interest in the real property is held by the, I want to say the lessor. He's like the landlord, right? And they own it. They own all the real property. Oh, I got those mixed up. Lessee and lessor. Oh, okay. Now I'm really off. Okay. Question rationale. The lessee tenant has the right of possession. Okay. Get that right. Don't get those mixed up. Question 19. The owner of an undivided interest in land with no rights of survivorship owns it by... There's like needs to be a comma in here. A, severalty. B, absolute ownership. C, tenancy in common. D, a joint tenancy. The owner of an undivided interest in land with no rights of survivorship owns it by... I'm going to go tenancy in common. Again, did we already do that one? Correct. You hear my cat? Tenancy in common. Question rationale. Severalty is ownership by one person or entity. Joint tenancy is co-ownership with the right of survivorship. Well, tenancy in common is co-ownership without the right of survivorship. Okay. So if someone dies and then you have tenancy in common, you get the place. All right, final question. Question 20 of 20. A parcel of land that separates two other parcels, i.e. a parcel between a residential and commercial strip of land, is called A, a buffer zone, B, a fully capitalized property, C, a bill of sale, D, an assessed property. I want to go with the buffer zone. I don't think it's any of these cells. It's separates two other parcels. A buffer zone, correct. Question rationale. A parcel of land that separates two differently zoned parcels is called a buffer zone. All right. All right, let's see how we did. I don't think we did very good. We got 8 correct and we missed 12. All right, we got to work on this category, guys. Property ownership and land use controls and regulations. What we like to do with the missed ones is we will write these down on a piece of paper, hand write them. There's science behind writing stuff down and speaking them out loud, which is why I'm talking to you guys right now. Follow along, subscribe to the channel. Let's get back into the classroom. All right, we're back in the classroom. Thanks again for studying with me. It was a hard 20-question quiz, but we made it through. Subscribe to the channel for the next one. We have vocab terms, real estate, questions, and concepts, and tons more content to help you guys pass the test and to help me pass the test. See you later.